Good morning, everyone. So wonderful to see you. Let me just introduce myself. I'm a ghost, not just a ghost. I'm the ghost. I'm the ghost from the future. I used to be the security industry. And tough life, man. You may actually know me. You may know me from maybe my latest book, you know? Why burn money if you can run an awareness program? Or, you know, one of my first books, you know? Your technical reality. It's always worse than anything you can imagine. Was also a bestseller, really. And the crown piece of my career was the movie just released called Cybersecurity. I lived it and it sucked, you know. So that's how you may know me. And anyway, so I've come back. And the thing is that I was here about half a year ago. I came back to Earth to talk about talk to the security industry, because I wanted to warn them, you know. Because the industry, they have to change their ways, otherwise it's not going to end very well. But that conversation half a year ago, it turned a bit ugly. You know, I got emotional and stuff, so you know, it was really not a very good conversation. So I decided to come back and be a bit more gentle. Be a bit more gentle about it, and also I'm going to only talk about incident response, because let's be honest, incident response is actually pretty good, but it can be much better. So, you know, I think, let's see, I want to have a constructive conversation. I think the security industry can be here any moment, so let's just see what happens.
Good morning, Canada. We are the heroes. We save companies. We prevent them from going bankrupt. And that's an awesome feeling, isn't it? So today, we are going to rejoice in that. We are going to have a couple of flashbacks and see how well we do. Let's have a look. See, we helped them get back up. The whole idea last time was to do a good session with the cybersecurity industry, but then a random ghost showed up and he ruined all my plans. And the only thing that was standing as a good example was the incident response industry. So for that reason, for today, I am declaring this a ghost-free zone. So let's see. What? No, not you again. No.
Absolutely yes.
But why?
Why? I think somebody needs to fact check you a little bit, to be honest.
Fact check?
I mean, ghost-free zone. What's that all about? I mean, let's get rid of that. Okay, feel much better now, you know. I'm gonna stay around. And like I said, somebody needs to fact check you a little bit. So I think you were a bit selective. So I'm gonna also show the audience a little bit of what happened last year. And not too long, but just to set the scene. You're not gonna get away with it. I told you.
Really? You're showing that? That's minor details. It's my artistic freedom to not show that, you know? Be happy I don't call my lawyer on you.
Be happy. Relax. I'm not here to burn you. I mean, I enjoyed it last year, but I want to have a constructive conversation. I want to talk about incident response, because incident response I'm fairly satisfied with, you know.
Fairly satisfied?
Yeah,
only fairly?
Fairly satisfied, but obviously there's room for improvement. But before we start talking about the improvement, let's just align ourselves and make sure we're on the same page. Number one, you want to make the world a better place, right?
We all do. We all want to make the world a better place.
Excellent. You heard it here first, folks. So if there's stuff that you can improve, and I can help you with to go from good to excellent, would you listen?
I'm still here. I'm listening. Go on.
Okay. I'm going to go on. So there are actually 4 points that I want to talk about, right? Yeah, 4 points. I want to talk about threat intelligence. I want to talk about data sharing. I want to talk about statistics, and I want to talk about perverse incentives with you.
Oh man, this goes. We are incident responders. We don't have perverse incentives.
You don't have perverse incentives?
No.
Okay, so I guess the conversation starts here.
Go on.
So let's talk about an investigation. How
Yes.
does an investigation start?
By drafting the budget.
Okay, funny guy, I mean technically, how does an investigation start?
We collect all the evidence, we investigate all the things. That's about it.
Investigate all the things, I mean that's huge, dude. Don't you have some sort of like guidance or like investigative questions to guide your investigation, something like that?
You should know them. They're always the same. Like all the projects have the same questions, like what happened, what was the root cause, how did they get in, are they out already, yada, yada, yada.
Okay, they start to come back now, those questions, and that's true. So you're running an investigation, and my question really is, when do you stop? You know, when do you stop investigating, or to be a bit more bluntly, when do you stop doing meaningless things that the customer pays for?
Meaningless things? I mean, come on. The company is stressed out, the C-levels are crying like little babies. We don't have time to do meaningless things.
Don't have time to do meaningless things? Okay, I'm gonna humor you. So follow along here. Let's just say you're doing an investigation and you stumble across a binary. What do you do?
What we all do, we reverse it. We throw it in a sandbox, we do some manual analysis, some statistical analysis. That's what we do. We do like the whole tralala.
Okay, tout le tralala, and so what's the outcome of that?
The outcome is we know everything. After we're done reversing the files, we know the techniques, we know who built it, who didn't build it, what it does, what it doesn't do. The usual.
Impressive. And when is the customer going to get those answers?
They always get an answer. It could just be that the answer takes between a couple of days, maybe weeks, sometimes months. I mean, it depends on the skill set of the reverse engineer. You know that. And a little bit on the mood as well. You know, the mood is...
Hold on. It depends on the mood?
Yes.
Sorry, the mood for what?
The mood for picking up the file. You know how many ransomware files we have to reverse engineer and stuff like that?
God.
I mean, we only pick it up if it's interesting. Otherwise, we just push it a little bit further along.
That sounds like a really, really interesting and predictable process. Not. I mean, come on. You know, what if the customer, all they want to know is which IP address did the binary connect to? You know, is all that reversing really necessary?
Yes, because we need it. I mean, the customer just wants the IP address, but we want to know the rest of the information.
So, but don't you ever stop, you know? How does that work?
Of course, we stop. I mean, if the customer stops paying, we stop working. That's kind of obvious. But sometimes the project becomes a bit boring. The hero stuff is, you know, out of the picture. So we then just move to another project.
Okay, my God, this does sound a little bit like a perverse incentive. Just one more question. Don't you have project managers that tell you to stop?
Okay, you call it a perverse incentive. I just call it enthusiastic technical people researching a lot.
God.
And yes, we have project managers. They help us to, you know, keep the project going, know where we're headed, look at the planning, that type of stuff.
Okay, and so they don't tell you to stop?
No, of course not. I mean, we got to keep the shareholders happy.
So, okay, hold on here. So I'm asking you a question about project managers, and your answer includes shareholders. How does that? You got to explain this to me, man.
Really? I have to go step by step?
Do that.
Okay, so like you know, project managers are really good with time. And time is money.
Okay.
So the more time that we sell, the more money that we have. The more money that we have, the happier the shareholders are. The happier they are, the more that we can grow. And the more that we grow, the more customers that we can help. It's easy.
It's easy, and that is a perverse incentive. Your incentive is to continue to work, continue to rake in premium rates, and the only reason you would stop, like you said, is if the customer tells you to stop, they stop paying, or you have a better, shiny new project on the horizon that you all run to. It's terrible. It's really terrible. So you get called by a customer and they have no choice?
They do have a choice. Come on. They can either call us when they're like all in panic and the company's half burning down, or they can call anyone in this room.
Nice try. But no, they don't have a choice. So basically the way I see it is that shit hits the fan, they call you, they trust you with their biggest problems, and they need to depend on you. And that happens, but on top of it they have two additional risks. So the one is that the risk that you continue to go down a rabbit hole technically and don't stop investigating, and the second risk is that you just keep burning money for the bottom line. I mean, it seems to me that you need a third party or something to keep you in check, I think.
I think you've been hanging out too much in the future. I mean, we already have another party.
Oh, what?
We have insurers. They are great. They help us to keep the cost low. Then they have like conditions in the contract to make the customers better. It's wonderful.
I just want to, maybe you're the witness here. I just want to have it noted that I was not the one to bring up insurers, you know, that was him. It was not me. Just not me.
Have you ever seen a ghost this scared? I mean, you're not supposed to be able to die. Are you able to die? Can I get rid of you finally?
Nice try, man. I'm not going to tell you. But I am quite curious. What do you think happened with insurers in my timeline?
All the good stuff happens in your timeline. I bet that the future of incident response with insurers is great. I mean, the dwell time has been lowered, the cost of breach has been lowered, and of course, the satisfaction of everybody has gone through the roof. And like, after every project, the reoccurrence of an incident happening is like almost zero.
Hallelujah, man. This is a very beautiful future indeed. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to disappoint you. It's going to look like a wasteland.
What? But how? Why? Why are you living in a wasteland?
It's going to be even worse than a wasteland. It's going to be a wasteland and you're in the wasteland and you don't even realize it because it's always been like that. You don't realize the trouble that you're in, man.
I don't believe you. It can't be this bad.
It is that bad. You know what happened? They won.
They won what? We are a team. We're working together with them. Also, we are still a cyber conference, right? Like, what does it have to do with healthcare? I don't get it.
You don't get it? You're not the sharpest tool in the shed, are you? Or the best IOC in the feed.
Haha.
So let me spell it out for you if you don't understand it. So just like with healthcare, insurers can kind of get too much power, and they will in the future. So that means that insurers own the cases, insurers own the data, they own the customers, they can prescribe solutions that may not be in the best interest of the customers or the world. And eventually they'll also control your IR minions.
You're just making fun of us now. It's like a caricature of our industry. Come on,
no.
Be serious. Do you even have examples?
I have an example. I'll give you an example right now. You know, just imagine you're working on an espionage case, you're investigating, and suddenly you realize, these are spies, you know. And you know what happens the moment the insurer finds out it's spies? They're going to tell you, just clean up those 12, 15 machines, let the customer help them get back and get the hell out of Dodge, you know. But just don't spend any more investigation money.
But we always do that. We always clean up. Oh, you mean without doing the investigation, without knowing why they attacked the company, what they stole, how they got in, and why they even targeted.
Absolutely, and it makes a lot of sense too, of course, because honestly, if you have spies in your network, they don't normally affect your operations very much, you know, you can just leave them there. It doesn't really bother you. Even worse, normally you don't even detect them, you know.
That's true.
So from an insurer's point of view, why would you spend much more money on that if it doesn't even, you know, affect your customers? So they're going to let you stop doing the investigation, keep the cost down, customers so the happiest, but it's just not a good outcome.
That's just one example.
No, I have another example.
What?
Give you this example. This is going to be working like this for every case that you work on, you know. So you want to pick up a case, and the tools that you're going to use for the case are not your choice.
What?
They're going to be the tools that the insurer prescribes you use.
It's always our choice.
No, and it's not because those tools are the best tools for the job. No, it's the tools that the insurer struck a deal with the vendor. And you have to use them. That's the way it's going to work, man.
No, we're just refusing. We're the expert. We decide what we do. So we're not going to do that project.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that project. You can say that, but I'm going to tell you that in the future, the only way that you can get any assignments is through an insurer. So if you're not going to do that project, find another job. Go be a barista or something.
Okay, at least, let's be honest, it's less stress than being an incident responder. Not that bad.
I wouldn't underestimate the stress of a barista, but you know, that's beside the point. So anyway, so here's the thing. This might feel strange at first, you know, you think, oh, I gotta stop the investigation prematurely, I can't use my own tools, but you know, old incident responders die of heartaches and new young incident responders come in, and it's the way it works, and at one point everybody just shrugs their shoulders and goes, that's the way it is, that's the wasteland that you'll end up in, man, you don't want that.
So basically you're telling me the customer never wins? Like if the customer only works with incident response parties, they may be paying way too much money for all kinds of cool technical stuff that they don't really need. And if they involve the insurers, then the quality goes down the drain? Is that what you're telling me? Are you again painting us as the bad guys?
No, I'm not painting you as the bad guys. Oh, don't go there, man. Do you remember what we talked about at the beginning of this session? I want to help you go from good to excellent. That's what this is all about.
Yeah,
man.
We all want to be excellent, don't we?
Yeah. So, come on, do it.
Really? I have to do it? I have to do it? With the bad advice that you give me? You sound like a pen tester. A lot of fluff, no specific information. You used to be an incident responder. Come on, give me specifics. What do I have to do?
I'll give you specifics. You know, if you don't act and get off your lazy butt, the insurers are gonna control the narrative. That's what's gonna happen.
What narrative?
I'll spell it out. What narrative? Okay, so the insurers are going to be able to tell the world what is in the best interest of organizations that get breached. Why? Because they are in control of the cases, they're in control of the data, they can do the analysis and they can actually tell the world what to do, and that may not be in the best interest, and that's the narrative I'm talking about. So what you need to do as an industry is get off your lazy butt and get back behind the steering wheel and control the narrative. Capiche?
I think I capiche, but what data are we talking about?
Good question. Constructive question. I like it, you know. So I'm going to give you an example from the aviation industry, which honestly I hate with a vengeance. This might be the only thing they're doing right. But
we agree on that.
We agree on that. I'm happy I didn't have to fly here anyway, you know, so I'm a ghost. But so what we're seeing here is a flight path, and it contains statistical information about fatalities and the risk of onboard accidents, and also related to the time spent during that phase of the flight.
Makes sense.
So this is really useful information that you can base safety decisions on, right? Do you have anything like that in cybersecurity?
Of course we do. Also for anyone flying back, don't land. Apparently that's dangerous.
Show me.
Okay, let me show you. We got literally the same picture in cybersecurity.
Okay then, come on.
I mean, we have a path for the customer with a projection, and then we have all kinds of models like threat models and MITRE data and all kinds of attack trees, and then we can tell the customer about the maturity and the level they're at. We plot all that information on the timeline, then based on the time we know when they're sort of safe, then we can also look at if they're going bad or better or best, and the sophistication of the attacker. Now draw some conclusions from that picture.
Did you just like overflow me with verbal diarrhea, or do you actually have a point?
Yes.
Not good enough. Try again. I mean, what could improve here? What could you improve?
Okay, maybe it's a bit of a hideous, bad color type of slide. So if I have to think about the content, maybe as an industry, we should start keeping statistics about what happens, where does it happen, under what circumstances, how often do we see it, and maybe if we collect all that information from all the parties involved, customers can finally start to make data-driven informed security decisions.
Absolutely, and you're not doing that right now.
Yes, we are. Well, some of us are. Well, maybe two of the industry are. Some of us, come on.
Dear dummy.
They're calling us dummies, again.
You speak on behalf of the industry.
Yes.
So just the fact that you say some of us do, some of us are, proves that as an industry you don't have to act together, you know. So what you need to do as an industry is start normalizing this security data from incidents, put it on a big pile, so as an industry you can speak. That's the thing against insurers. You need to control the narrative, get together, normalize the data, analyze the data, and you're the ones that put the story out. That's it.
Typical ghost, you know, used to work a little bit with us in his old days. And now he comes in, he starts to point out all kinds of things and issues and subjects that we have in the industry lying around, and then expects us to just, you know, go like this and suddenly everything has to be okay.
Mm.
Suddenly everything has to be okay. You know, I'm tired of this. Last year he ruined the conference, this year he's ruined the conference, and I've got the feeling that some of you are going to sue me. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call my lawyer and you can talk to my lawyer.
It's interesting that you mention lawyers. Have you considered maybe evaluating your relationship with them?
Whoa, don't start using dirty words. Don't start using dirty words. I don't have a relationship with my lawyer. I have like a fling at most.
Okay, explain how that works.
Well, that works fairly easy. You see, we've got a customer.
Yeah.
And they contract a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
They do all kinds of things in the panic of the situation. Then the lawyer knows what to tell us. And then we start investigating. And then we wrap up. We give them the report. And then nobody talks about it.
Cool story, bro. Except that the nobody talks about it piece is not going to work out very well for you as an industry. See what happens in 4 years' time? The information that comes out about the incident has trickled down to nearly nothing.
But our industry is huge. This can be it. No, you're exaggerating.
Okay, I'm not exaggerating. I'm going to tell you what happens. You know.
Okay, come on.
So let me show you here. So okay. Apparently
really?
I can't show you, but I'm going to talk to you about it. So when you have an emergency, you need to deal with stakeholders like suppliers, partners, customers, all sorts of stuff. And without a doubt, all the time, when lawyers get involved, of course, they want to reduce the risk of litigation, and that basically means don't talk. So, you know, so what's going to happen is going to be less talking about incident, less publishing of information, less communication, and most of the time, even people that were involved don't even know their own data is breached.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. You all know, like I know, like he knows, that there's regulation in the world. Some parts better than other parts, but those regulations will force those companies to come clean and inform their customers that they have been breached.
That's what you think, but this is what happens. I can't show you,
Really?
but I can tell
Privilege?
you. You know, this is what happens. So when there's regulation, there's always a bit of wiggle room. When there's wiggle room in lawyers, you know what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of wiggling, and eventually, most of the time, it turns out that suddenly, magically, we don't need to involve the people involved in this particular case. Case closed, communication trickles down to a halt.
Wow. If you put it like that, I mean, the lawyers have a lot of power. Sure hope they don't team up with insurers, because then we're doomed.
Well, so basically, if we zoom out, this is not the world we want, man. So you better brush up on your legalese there.
Yeah, brushing up is easy. We got ChatGPT for that, so that's not a problem. But what do we have to do specifically?
I'm gonna be specific. So first of all, you gotta treat lawyers like friends, like colleagues, you know. I know that sounds weird. You got lawyers in your own company as well, and the thing is that what you need to do is preemptively, your own fine print needs to include clauses that allow you to communicate and publish, even though the opposing lawyers might oppose that. So worst case, if that doesn't work, you can sit back, relax, take a popcorn while the lawyers fight it out.
Good tips, but since when are you so fearless? You're even making jokes about lawyers.
I make jokes about lawyers since I realized that they're also frail people just like us, you know.
Okay, that's pretty funny. Okay, so lawyers are not the demonic gods. I thought they always were. Okay. So if I get this right, the whole doing projects with privileged information with lawyers to protect the customers, if we use that in every case, it will actually bite us in the behind?
It will, absolutely. It will bite you in the ass, more precisely,
yeah,
to use
okay,
a technical
thanks.
term. So with anything, don't overdo it, you know, don't abuse that.
Okay, but we can work with that, right? And I even see additional opportunities, because if we fix this, we were sort of done. We've gone from good to excellent, and we've got rid of you.
Not so quickly. I've got one more thing I want to discuss with you.
Oh no, one more thing.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead, why not?
Threat intelligence.
What about threat intelligence?
What about threat intelligence? It's not exactly the thing that it is, it's just what you do with it. Like, do you really share it?
Yeah, haven't you seen our awesome threat intel report? Shiny, neat, designed.
I've seen that report. Maybe the audience hasn't, so I'll give them some time to read it, to read the cover page, and I'll just stand aside and make one remark, which is, I'm utterly impressed by the way you managed to fluff this up for marketing purposes. Really,
Fluff it
look
up?
at that.
Okay, I'm tired of being insulted. He's insulting us all. We're not fluffing it up. This is sharing information.
Ah, you're fluffing it up. Look at that, man. How cranky amoeba owns us sideways. But anyway, it's also besides the point. When I asked you about sharing, I meant, do you share threat intelligence with peers?
Yes. No. Well, with some peers. Well, maybe, if I trust them.
Come on, man. Why not?
NDAs. And you know, I gotta make money.
You gotta make money, but remember, this is about, you know, making the world a better place.
Ah, crap. We promised that, didn't we? That we would make the world a better place?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you an example. Remember the AV companies in the 90s and the 80s?
Oh, yeah. Are they still around? I thought they were dinosaurs by now.
Somebody might be. Some of them might be. I'm not entirely sure. They may be in the room here, but you know.
Sorry.
So the example that I want to tell you about is that at some point, end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, the AV industry among themselves decided they were not going to compete on malware signatures. They were going to share them among themselves.
Oops.
And they were not going to be a commercial good, right? So they shared them even with their competitors and let it be a common good. What happened to that?
Well, we put a threat intelligence sticker on that and started asking money for it.
But it's not for the better of the world, man. You need to share threat intelligence with more parties. Basically, you need to work towards sharing threat intelligence with as many people as you can, really.
That's your good idea?
That's my good idea.
That's your good idea? I mean, it's almost as good as your last idea. That didn't work out, right? You know what he's telling us to do? He's telling us that when we catch Canada hacking the Netherlands, then we share that information with all of you, including the Canadian cert. Is that a good idea?
That is so you. That is just so disappointingly so you. You use a fringe edge case as an excuse not to innovate. I mean, of course, I understand it's not straightforward or super easy, but there's so many ways to go about this, man. You can start sharing within your own country, which you undoubtedly already do. You can start sharing with trusted partners, which you undoubtedly already do, but you don't stop there. You got to work towards a world where you can share as much as you can with as many parties as you can and make it not a commercial good, but a common good. That's better for the world.
You know, I've got a huge headache. Because at least I'm doing my job. I'm representing the industry, the people in the room. And what are you doing? you're not even doing the one job that you had, which was to gently, without going all nutty on me, guide us from good to excellent. What should we even do? I got no clue what we should do. Nagging, yapping, I forgot all of it. So, what should we do?
I think you're right. I'm sorry, man.
Well, at least I got an apology.
I got carried away, and I shouldn't have been so excited. And it's because I care about you, man. I used to be you, and I want you to be better. I want you to be excellent. That's why I got carried away sometimes.
Okay, I accept.
Give me a little bit of time. I want to just recapitulate what I said. So I'll just summarize it up for you, and we can just put an end to it. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds okay. Go ahead.
So there's you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a better world.
We all want a better world, don't we?
You can reach a better world, but there's a few hurdles there, right? So number one, insurers are a hurdle to a better in place of a better world. So what you need to do is get your act together as an industry, collect data all collectively, and control the narrative, what the data means. That's number one. Number two, lawyers. Lawyers will stop you from communicating, so you preemptively need to think about that and attack it, you know?
Okay.
That's number two. Number three, maybe the hardest one, but threat intelligence. It's a commercial value right now, and it shouldn't be. It's not good for the world. It should be a common good. There, I said it. 3 things. That's what you need to do.
Ah, that actually makes sense. Would have been so much nicer if you started with this. I think our relationship by now is a little bit strained. And you know what I propose?
What?
So I propose that we implement the advice, but I need a break from you. I definitely need a break. Let's do a small break, about 5,000 years, for example. You leave me alone, go away, and I never see you again.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, I come here to have a conversation with you. Normally, you start attacking me, you start defending.
Oh, go away! I don't
want to talk to you anymore.
No, neither do I.
I don't hear you.
Bye.
I'm not listening. So, in the last few minutes, we'll just introduce ourselves very briefly. So, my name is Erik de Jong. I work for a company in the Netherlands called Securify. And actually, I'm no longer involved with incident response, which is kind of where my heart is still. I did that for 20 years, but we do red teaming and pen testing, which you insulted. Yeah, so that's me.
Yeah, and I'm Francisco, and I work for Hackett, and my heart is actually with pen testing and red teaming. So I decided to do security operations and incident response. So I'm now at the blue team side of stuff, and at Hackett we do incident response and SOC and the usual. And we thought it would be funny to, put in a little bit of self-critique, add a little bit of micro-theater to the mix, and hopefully entertain all of you a little bit with a small drop of knowledge as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Sorry? Sure, if people have questions.
Oh yeah, questions, answers.
We have a few minutes, so maybe you want to ask some questions.
I see a hand there.
Hi, I'm Paolo from Priam. I'm not sure if I want to make a serious question or a joke. But I guess we have the tools, no, to share like incidents. Like there is the various database, right? So like, yeah, most of the data sets come from MSPs or healthcare industry, like those industries that are, as you mentioned in your in your conversation, they are basically pushed by the government to release those incidents. But I think we need more awareness from people like yourself doing incident response to say, hey, there is various, can we share this data with the incident response team, right? Because we can, anonymize it, it's safe. I think the goals needs to play, as you mentioned, like a better role and bring more awareness and say, we should publish this more and share more. But you're totally spot on the lawyers and insurance. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any more comments or questions? We have a couple of more minutes.
I'm a pen tester, I don't give answers.
Okay.
Okay, if that's not the case, thanks again very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant talk.